Hey folks, it's Stu and Andy from Evolution Unleashed. And today we want to just give a sneak peek into the kind of approach we're using with our Advanced Prompt Mastery course, which is a prompt engineering course that's going to help you sort of build prompts from scratch for any use case in a way that's perfectly tailored to the use case, whether that's for a client or for yourself or for somebody else. So today we want to just use a very simple example to demonstrate the power of context and how it can align stuff much more powerfully to your current situation. Because without context, ChatGPT is running blind, Andy, right? So let's use an example. One of the most popular questions being asked is, how do I make money with ChatGPT? And if you ask that question to ChatGPT, you get very bland, boring, generic output that you're likely to find all over blog posts everywhere, the top 10 ways to generate money with ChatGPT, and all the answers will be very high level, generic, and everyone else is looking at exactly the same answers, Andy.
Exactly. And, it's really not that hard to generate that stuff within ChatGPT itself, even if you're using the free version, right? So, for example, show me how to make money by using ChatGPT, content creation, copywriting, blah, 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 blah. Oh, that looks really familiar.
And that's
Right?
3.5, the free version, right?
Exactly. And one thing that we've noticed is that many people use ChatGPT kind of like an advanced Google search, which
Mm.
it's not the intention of ChatGPT, right? It's the power of ChatGPT is its ability to tailor its output to your situation, to your scenario for you to actually use in a very valuable way. And if you're only using this simple like search terms or prompts, it doesn't matter if you're using the free version or the paid version, it's going to look basically the same, right? However, today we want to just break down a few simple principles of using ChatGPT. And the one that we work on, the one that we want to work on right now is context, because context is king when it comes to working with AI. So, Stu, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. And look, the simple fact is, we see a lot of people making prompts out in the internet world, and some of the prompts are pretty good, but there's a flaw in a lot of them, in that they're very heavy on the instructions: do this, do this, do this, give me that, give me this, but they don't provide context, right? And that's why we've created a prompt structure, which we've taught before, and we'll go far more into detail in a later time. But for now, we just want to talk about the importance of context, because context is the way that ChatGPT can read all that information that you're asking about and then distill it down and give you an answer that relates specifically to your context, right, to your situation, which is very powerful. So let us give you an example. We've written a prompt. We're going to give that to you free today. It's down below under this video, where we go into the same question, but with a lot more prompting. And look, we're not going to show you our whole approach today. That's what the course is for. And it's a whole $97, pretty good value for money. But here we want to talk about context, right? Because context is how you personalize. And you want to just give ChatGPT a lot of context around your skills, your desires, your current position, resources available, and so on, right? So the more context, the better. So we're still asking the same question. I want to explore ways to make money using ChatGPT, right? Can you assist me in this journey? So we've set the task. And you can write, folks, your context as if you're telling a friend. Don't worry about the way you write. This puts a lot of people off. They think it's too technical or too hard. Look, you need zero experience using these tools to write the context. You just write from your heart. You just write what comes into your mind. You don't need any special way. Our prompt structure takes care of it. You only need to provide context, and you can do that in the same way that ChatGPT works, in natural language, okay? So occupation, financial goals and timeframes, available resources, specific industries, risk tolerance and investment capacity are all very important pieces of context for it to be able to tailor a way for you to make money with ChatGPT that relates to all of that. So I've already run the prompt, okay? And here's what I wrote. I'm a marketing manager for a large international company. My main skills include communication. I'm really good at communicating expectations with my team, okay, and so on. I really enjoy bringing marketing campaigns to life to help brands tell their story. Let me zoom in a bit, folks. I have around 5,000 in savings I can invest into this, and I can spare around 10 to 15 hours a week. I would love to be able to have an income from this that can replace my corporate income, which is 120,000 a year. In terms of industries I'm drawn to, I love tech and SaaS products. I like AI, and I really like working with online tools to make our job easier. So we've given it a bunch of context. So we're essentially asking the same question: how can I make money using ChatGPT? But we're using an approach where it's tailored to who we are. Now, Andy, we've used this before. This is our question approach or our interactive ChatGPT approach because it allows us to go even deeper. We'll go more into detail in that and prompt mastery as well. But when we run this, it's going to ask us some questions. And if you have a look at the questions, right, have you ever created or managed a personal brand? Which online platforms are you most comfortable with? Are you open to creating and selling digital products and so on? Because it can take those answers plus our context and it's going to go even more relevant to our skills, right? So if we were a corporate marketing manager, what can ChatGPT come up with? So to answer these questions, we're not going into how to do all this. We've covered that elsewhere. We'll be covering it in far more detail in our prompt mastery course, but you'll just use the clipboard. You'll bring it over to a separate document and you'll answer the questions. So what I'm going to do, folks, is just quickly pause this video and we'll come back when we've got the answers because we're doing this live and we'll see you in, from your perspective, in about 1 second. And we're back with our questions that we've now answered. And even though we've got it to ask short questions, yes, no, provide as much context as you can in these questions. Again, sounding like a broken record, Andy, but context is king when you want to personalize your output. No brainer. So here's our answers. Have you managed? Yes, but never a personal brand and so on. Okay. So we're going to run the answers. And then what it's going to do is take those answers and then it's going to identify some potential paths. And this is the power of personalization. So, digital products and course creations, affiliate marketing for SaaS products. See how it's more tailored to our interests, our specialties, our skills, webinars and workshops, AI chatbot consulting and implementation, definitely a market there. Right, you see the to be continued, that's a little override and so on, then it's going to provide blueprints. So while it's running that, we'll come back to that in a second. Andy, a lot of people think ChatGPT's got dumber. And in reality, from their perspective, we can understand why, because when 3 months ago, if you'd run a generic prompt, you get slightly better output. And they put a lot more restrictions to cover copyright issues because they're getting sued, to conserve compute power because too much drain on their resources. But has the base model really got dumber?
Absolutely not. I mean, if I guess, it's being able to see ChatGPT for what it is. It's not a search engine. I would say it's more like an assistant or a secretary for you to bounce thoughts around with, right?
Or
If you look at it from that perspective, yeah, consultant, right? If you look at it from that perspective, you will know that the more context you provide about yourself, about your situation, the better the feedback and advice it's going to be, right? So if that's the way to better use ChatGPT, if we're using it correctly, then we can definitely tap into that, wealth of knowledge much more easily.
Oh, yeah. Like 1 trillion data sets, as you say, more than 1 trillion data sets we can draw from. And the context is how it knows what's relevant to us in amongst all of that data. So, folks, while it's easy to think ChatGPT's got dumber because your prompts don't generate the same level of output as they might have 3 months ago, please understand that the base model's actually got smarter. We're getting the best output ever. And unfortunately, the bar to using it has gone higher, right? You need a better level of prompting. Is that fair? Should they have done that? That's not what we're here to discuss. We're here purely to provide value and show you how to get the most out of these tools. So if you're open-minded and you're prepared to absorb a little bit more around your prompt structure, around context, you're going to have a much happier time and get far better output from ChatGPT. So let's jump back in, see what sort of output it's given us, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, so you see it's got our end of overall outputs and some nice thoughts there. So let's go and see what it gave us. Right, now look how long this output is, right? This is because of the override that we've put into the prompt. Won't go into that today. So based on these extra income, here's the blueprints. If you want to do digital products and course creation, identify gaps in the market, choose a platform, create a curriculum, record your content, market your course, collect feedback. There's your step-by-step. These are the things that you need to do. So you can sort of have a look at these and decide which one you like the best. Do you want to do webinars and workshops? Do you want to do AI chatbot? Now, let's say you don't like any of those, you can just regenerate, okay? And it'll give you a rerun, right? You don't always have to rely. We'll talk about that in our course as well. So if you need skill enhancement, here's for each of those, the skills that you're going to need. And then if you want to, you can say, thank you, this is amazing. Can you please provide more comprehensive. That's good spelling, isn't it? The joy of live video, folks. Can you please provide more comprehensive information on, and let's say there's something up here you're not sure about, going a bit over and beyond here. So let's say that we want to identify gaps in the market. So let's just pull this out. For number one, digital course creation for digital course creation. And then it will break that down to the next level. And this is how you can start using ChatGPT to get really relevant, tailored information and learn all the things that you don't know. So how do you identify your market gaps? Here's exactly how to do it, right? So, folks, that's really just what we wanted to cover. It's a very useful prompt, by the way. It's our new instructional prompt that we've been releasing recently, where it asks questions to further tailor, and that gives it better context, okay? So really, the function of what we're trying to teach you today is that context directly relates to the personalization aspect of your output. And that's really the key for you to understand. And what we wanted to really cover off with that today was that you don't have to be a wordsmith or a copywriter to write that context. You can just write it however you like. So, Andy, any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
I would just say, let's stop looking at ChatGPT as an advanced Google search, and that'll start changing things.
Yeah, good thought. So, folks, we hope this has given you a wee bit more sort of insight into what makes a good prompt and to how to get around the restrictions that seem to be quite prevalent with OpenAI. That's got a lot of people crying about how dumb it's got. And again, while we sympathize, we do ask you to be open-minded. And instead of complaining, you can focus on the problem in life, folks, or you can focus on the solution. We're focusing on solutions. You can complain all you want. You're never going to get ahead. If you want to get ahead, be solution focused. I won't rant on about that today, but folks, we hope you've enjoyed this. Our Advanced Prompt Mastery course is $97. You've just received a drop of kind of the style that we'll be teaching and sort of the information that we're going to be giving you. We've got far, far more, really focused on methodology and building prompts from scratch for specific use cases. So personalization is just one of the ways we can do that. We can't wait to show you more. Links down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.